The Tonight Show studio hummed with a lively buzz as Jimmy Fallon bounced to his desk, his grin wide and infectious, his energy a spark that lit up the room, the audience erupting in cheers with a warmth that filled the space. Across from him sat Morgan Freeman, the legendary actor with a voice like velvet thunder, his posture calm but his eyes sharp, a presence that commanded respect without effort. The crowd, a mix of Fallon fans and Freeman admirers, clapped and hollered, their anticipation a steady pulse, expecting Fallon's goofy charm to dance with Freeman's gravitas. What started as a light-hearted chat would soon ignite into a heated clash, a spark over Freeman's narration style, sending him storming off, leaving Fallon to wrestle the night into a win. Fallon launched in with his usual zest, tossing out a hearty welcome before steering the talk to Freeman's latest film, a gritty drama where his iconic voice narrated the chaos, drawing raves from critics and fans alike. His tone was playful, teasing as he asked Freeman about that unmistakable sound, joking that even a grocery list would sound epic in his hands, his giggle punctuating the quip. Freeman smiled, his voice low and smooth, explaining how he found the rhythm in every line, his words pulling laughs from the crowd, their energy a warm current. Fallon nodded, his grin stretching, then lobbed a line that landed like a match in dry grass. "Morgan, do you ever turn off the God voice, or is it just on all the time? Was it a gift, or just a shtick he couldn't shake?" The mood shifted, fast. Freeman's smile fading, his eyes narrowing as Fallon's words hung there, the audience's laughter dipping into a murmur, some chuckling, others tensing, sensing the misstep. Freeman leaned forward, his tone cool but edged. "You think it's a gimmick, Jimmy? It's work, not a parlor trick." His words a quiet rebuke that drew a ripple of gasps, the crowd stirring as Fallon giggled again. "Come on, Morgan, it's just fun. You're the voice of everything." Did Fallon not hear the warning, or was he too caught in his own beat to care? The air thickened, Freeman's gaze hardening, the tension coiling tight. By the break, the studio simmered with a restless charge, Freeman's hands resting stiffly on the chair, his stare locked on Fallon, who leaned back, still chuckling, oblivious to the storm brewing across the desk. What had been a friendly exchange had cracked open a rift, Fallon's jab at Freeman's craft striking a nerve, the actor's calm fraying at the edges. The audience felt it, their buzz turning to whispers, a mix of thrill and unease as the cameras cut away, clips poised to race online. Could Freeman brush off the dig, or would Fallon's quip push him too far? As the lights dimmed, the stage was set, the clash ready to flare. The commercial break melted away, and the Tonight Show studio roared back into a vibrant, pulsating life, the lights flooding the set with a warm, golden sheen that danced across the polished floor, the air thick with a tension that had simmered through the pause and now threatened to burst wide open. Jimmy Fallon lounged at his desk, his posture casual but his grin tighter than before, his eyes flickering with a subtle unease that betrayed the storm brewing beneath his sunny exterior, a host who'd poked a lion and was about to feel the claws. Across from him sat Morgan Freeman, the iconic actor whose presence filled the room like a quiet thunderhead, his hands gripping the armrests with a force that turned his knuckles pale, his face a mask of barely restrained fury, the calm gravitas he was known for now fraying at the edges, replaced by a sharpness that cut through the studio's hum. The audience, a restless sea of Fallon fans and Freeman admirers, leaned forward in their seats, their earlier cheers now a hushed, electric buzz, their anticipation a taut wire strung tight, sensing the fallout from Fallon's earlier jab at Freeman's narration style about to explode into something unforgettable. What had been a playful exchange before the break now ignited into a heated, full-blown clash, a slow burn that erupted with Freeman walking off stage in a blaze of anger, leaving Fallon to grapple with the wreckage and fight for the night's redemption. Fallon didn't hesitate, diving back into the fray with a chuckle that rang slightly hollow, his voice lilting as he tried to smooth the jagged edges left by his prior quip. "So, Morgan, seriously, that voice, it's like you're narrating my life right now. I swear I hear you in my head ordering coffee." His giggle a nervous ripple that rolled through the quiet, a desperate bid to lighten the mood and pull the room back to his side. Freeman's eyes narrowed to slits, his head tilting slightly, his voice dropping low and cold, a rumble that carried an edge sharper than a blade. "You keep poking at it, Jimmy, like it's some kind of joke. It's not a damn toy for you to play with." His words a deliberate warning shot that landed like a slap. The crowd gasping audibly, some letting out uneasy laughs, others shifting in their seats, their murmurs a soft undercurrent as the mood tilted hard and fast. Fallon, caught off guard but still grinning, leaned forward, his hands splaying on the desk, his tone pleading yet oblivious. "Come on, man. It's a compliment. You're the king of narration. Who wouldn't want that voice?" His giggle, faltering as he doubled down, a spark tossed onto a pile of dry leaves, unaware of the fire he was stoking. The exchange escalated with a ferocity that sucked the air from the room, Freeman's restraint cracking wide open as Fallon's words hit their mark, his voice rising from that velvet growl to a roar that shook the studio, his hand slamming down on the desk with a resounding thud that echoed off the walls. "A compliment? You're mocking what I've built, you little twerp? You think this is just some gimmick I switch on?" The audience froze, their breath held in a collective hush, as Freeman's fury poured out unchecked, his tone a tidal wave that drowned Fallon's charm in an instant, his words a blistering rebuke that accused the host of turning decades of craft into a cheap punchline, of not grasping the sweat and soul behind every syllable he'd ever spoken. Fallon's eyes widened, his laugh shrinking to a weak, reflexive chirp as he stammered, "Morgan, I didn't mean it like that. I swear, I love your work." His hands flailing in a futile attempt to backpedal, his voice cracking under the weight of Freeman's glare. But the actor cut him off with a force that silenced the room. "You meant it exactly like that, Jimmy. You just don't have the depth to see it. You're out of your league here." The crowd erupted into a chaotic swell, some cheering Freeman's fire with wild whoops, others stunned into silence, their murmurs and gasps blending into a cacophony that pulsed through the set, the tension a live wire sparking in every direction. The studio transformed into a battlefield where Fallon's levity clashed head-on with Freeman's pride. The host tried to rally, his grin twitching as he leaned in again, his voice a mix of desperation and defiance. "Morgan, come on, it's a show. We're having fun, right? You're the voice of God. I'm just a guy with a mic." His giggle, a last-ditch shield that crumbled as Freeman's face darkened further, his hands balling into fists, his voice booming over the din. "Fun? You're a child playing with something you don't understand. I don't sit here for your amusement." The audience gasped louder, some clapping, others shouting, their energy a tangled mess of excitement and unease, as Freeman's words landed, like punches, each one a blow to Fallon's sunny facade. The clash spiraling beyond a mere spat into a raw, unfiltered showdown. The breaking point crashed in like a thunderclap, Freeman leaping to his feet with a speed that belied his years, his chair scraping back with a piercing screech that cut through the noise, his hands ripping off the mic with a force that sent the cord whipping through the air, his glare fixed on Fallon with an intensity that could have melted steel. "I don't need this crap, Jimmy. I'm done with your little games. You've got no respect." His voice was a seismic roar that shook the studio to its core, his finger jabbing the air as he unloaded a final salvo, calling Fallon a lightweight, a giggling fool who couldn't fathom the weight of what he mocked, a host who'd crossed a line and didn't even know it. The audience's silence shattered into a swell of gasps and shouts, some cheering Freeman's exit, others stunned as he turned on his heel, his footsteps pounding a furious rhythm across the stage, storming off into the wings with a force that left the set trembling, the crowd's roar a chaotic backdrop to his departure. Fallon sat slack-jawed, his hands raised in a helpless plea. "Morgan, wait, "Come back!" His voice cracking through the din, but the actor was gone. The exit, a seismic jolt that left the studio reeling, the crew scrambling as the chaos settled into a stunned, electric hush. The Tonight Show studio thrummed with a chaotic, electric charge as Morgan Freeman's exit left a gaping void. The lights stark against the set. The audience a roiling mix of stunned silence and restless murmurs. Their earlier cheers now a fractured hum of shock and awe. Jimmy Fallon stood behind his desk, his grin erased, his hands hovering mid-air, his face a canvas of disbelief and quick-shifting focus. A host blindsided by the storm that had just swept through. The crew darted backstage, their whispers crackling, over headsets, their eyes flicking to Fallon, who faced a crowd still reeling from Freeman's fiery walkout. What had erupted from a narration jab now lingered in the air, a raw wound the host would mend with a deft hand, turning the clash into a triumph that reclaimed the night. Backstage, the fallout was a whirlwind, a flurry of motion as staffers chased Freeman's trail, their phones buzzing with updates. He'd stormed past the green room, brushing off a producer's plea with a curt wave, his coat slung over his shoulder as he growled under his breath, his voice fading out the exit into the night. Word spread fast, insiders murmuring Freeman had been tense from the jump, pacing before the taping, his mood a tight coil that Fallon's voice of God quip had sprung loose. The crew watched clips hit online, Freeman's "I'm done with your games," a viral spark, some fans cheering his stand, others stunned, but all eyes swung to Fallon, the stage his to salvage from the wreckage. On stage, Fallon didn't falter, his instincts kicking in as he turned to the audience, his voice steadying as he broke the silence. "Well, folks, looks like Morgan's narration just took a dramatic turn off stage," his tone a mix of sheepish charm and quick wit that drew a ripple of laughs. He didn't dwell on the clash, instead spinning it into a riff, his hands gesturing as he recounted Freeman's explosion with a comedian's flair, mimicking the mic toss and the stomping exit, his chuckle a thread that pulled the crowd back from the edge. The laughter grew, their tension easing, some clapping, others whooping, as Fallon painted Freeman as a force too big to contain, a nod to his legend that turned the walkout into a story, not a scar. The segment became a showcase, Fallon weaving the chaos into a win, his humor a bridge that carried the night forward, his voice rising as he poked fun at himself. "Guess I'm not cut out to direct Morgan's next script," his grin returning, warm and disarming. The audience roared, their cheers a wave that crashed through the studio, their connection reignited as Fallon leaned into the desk, his pauses drawing them in, his recovery a masterstroke of charm over collapse. He didn't linger on Freeman's rage, letting it fade to a footnote, his tone a blend of humility and hustle that turned a near disaster into a triumph. By the break, the set was his again, the crowd's applause a testament to a host who'd flipped a blowout into a bounce-back, Freeman's departure a shadow to Fallon's light. The final break lifted, and the Tonight Show studio surged with a vibrant, electric roar, the lights bathing Jimmy Fallon in a warm, golden glow, his posture loose yet radiating a quiet, unshakable triumph, his grin wide and genuine, a host who'd navigated a tempest and emerged victorious. The audience, their earlier shock now a distant murmur, erupted in cheers, their energy a pulsing tide, their focus locked on Fallon, eager to see how he'd close a night that had veered from playful chat to fiery clash. Morgan Freeman's stormy walkout lingered like a faint whisper, but the crowd's roar drowned it out, their applause a testament to Fallon's rebound. What had been a near collapse now solidified into a triumph, the host turning Freeman's exit into a victory lap that sealed the show with finesse. Fallon didn't dwell on Freeman's departure, didn't chase the drama for easy laughs, instead stepping into the moment with a warmth that filled the room, his voice steady as he riffed. On the night's wild turn, "Guess some voices are too big for one stage, folks," his chuckle a spark that reignited the crowd's glow. The audience laughed, their tension gone. A shared exhale as Fallon wove the clash into a tale of resilience, his humor a gentle thread that tied the chaos to a win they could feel. He didn't name Freeman again. The actor's rant a ghost that faded under the host's light, his recovery a testament to charm over confrontation. Offstage, the fallout was a digital blaze, clips of Freeman's "I'm done with your games" and Fallon's quip racing online, the walkout a viral flashpoint that split viewers, some hailing Freeman's fire, others praising Fallon's pivot, the chatter amplifying the night's reach. Freeman's team stayed mum, no statement to stem the tide, while Fallon's crew watched the views climb, the hosts bounce back a narrative that stuck. Back on stage, Fallon eased into the close, bringing out a musical guest whose lively strums swept through the set, a buoyant wave that carried the crowd, their claps a steady pulse, the night's edge melting into a glow they owned as much as he did. As the clock wound down, Fallon took his final stand, alone under the lights, his presence a beacon that held the space with effortless command. He didn't revisit the clash. His win was the show itself, a seamless arc from spark to serenity that needed no encore. He thanked the crowd, his tone rich with gratitude, his eyes twinkling as he leaned in. "You guys make this fun. Hit that like button if you enjoyed it. Subscribe for more wild nights." His call a natural cap to the ride. The room exploded, a standing ovation shaking the walls, a thunderous salute to a host who'd turned a meltdown into magic. The cameras panned wide, catching the sea of faces, some beaming, others still buzzing, all bound by a tale that ended clean and bold. Fallon waved, the sound crashing over him, and the screen faded to black, a perfect close to a night that shone, sealed with a nudge to join the journey. Hey, if you loved this chaos, smash that like, subscribe, and stick with us for more.